Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning and this is a continuation of my mini-series called Summer's Suspects. A couple of days ago now, made a video about my top 5 suspects in the Summer Wells case. Although this isn't really rankings, because as I said in that video, depends what theory you're talking about as to how you'd rank your suspects. So it's a little bit more tricky than I originally thought. But I put Geordie Sue in 3rd because, broadly speaking, you know, if we think Don, who I talked about yesterday, made some problematic statements, you know, like, I'll see her in the resurrection, that kind of thing, then if you think that's a problem, if you think that's a red flag, you know, that he knows Summer's no longer with us, and therefore he must know what happened to her, you've got to see just how problematic Jodie Sue's statements have been, and how incriminating this sound. How incriminating this sound can mean two things. She's just let slip a load of stuff because she's involved, or they sound incriminating, but actually it's just because we're looking through the lens of Jodie Sue as a suspect. And although they paint her to be a pretty terrible person, pretty nasty person, vindictive person, it doesn't mean to say that she had anything to do with Summer's disappearance. So we've got to consider both of those. And I would say probably err on the side of these sound incriminating, and I'm going to play you some clips. But it's just a demonstration of her vindictiveness rather than her guilt. But we can't deny that there are issues with Jodie Sue and her family. She's implicated her ex-partner, Andy Bernard. She implicated him very recently by saying he sold drugs to the children at 110. He supplied drugs to Candice that were used to sedate the girls. Make of that what you will. It's been discussed at length, both on this channel and on other channels. But we're going to move past that. Actually, we're not moving past, we're going back. Because in my opinion, the most problematic statements that were made by Jodie Sue are right at the beginning. Before she had an audience on YouTube, before anyone on YouTube knew she existed, she was making videos on Facebook. She didn't have a YouTube channel, but she was making almost daily videos on the day Summer disappeared, and then in the subsequent days she was doing updates. Now, how many people were actually tuning in and listening, I don't know. But, you know, she had no idea that this case was going to get as big as it did. She'd never have expected an audience that she gets. I find it hard to believe that she planned Summer's abduction, Summer's demise, just to become YouTube famous. You know, that is ridiculous. But I think it's these statements, these very early statements, before she knew that the world was potentially watching and listening to her, that are the most problematic, are the most truthful. Because she doesn't have to attention seek, she doesn't have to embellish, because she's only talking to a small number of people, not potentially thousands that listen to her on YouTube. And it was only after Don came out and said that his neighbour heard a scream, and everyone was like, you what? You what? I think this was September. And Geordie Sue felt that she needed to get ahead of this now. So she made a series of 16 videos on her Facebook. She put makeup on, she spoke directly to the camera, she talked all about Jackie Dobbs on the 14th, and she chronologically, yes with lots of rambles, but chronologically came forward through June 15th, exactly what she claims she saw and heard on that day. Pretty soon, they made it over to YouTube, talking about the Scream. Jodie Sue then started to appear on panels. She's been on loads of people's panels. And then eventually she started her own YouTube channel. And here we are today. Lots of people who've been following this case know all about Jodie Sue. I think pretty much everybody supported her at first. You know, believed her stories, believed her claims of domestic abuse at the hands of a monster, Andy Bernard, wanted to help her. And this isn't the video to get into whether any of that is truthful or whether it's embellished. I think it was an abusive relationship, but perhaps it was on both sides. So this was common couple violence, and kind of a psychological term here, or which is more in recent years been called situational couple violence. Basically, it's where both parties are abusing each other. Could be physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, a combination thereof. But they're both doing it. And there's lots of reasons. Not because someone's a monster necessarily, but because they're very unhappy and there's lots of conflict. And it boils over. Anyway, not going to talk about that today. I've got videos on the psychology of domestic violence on this channel. You want to go and check them out. So, like I said, it's the early statements that are the most problematic. And this is Jodie Sue speaking about whoever is going to buy that 2-acre slither of land that she says is in her front yard, and how threatening she sounds towards that person.
The whole holler's laughing at this point because this piece of property has sold for over $20,000 for 2 acres. Now, these dumbass out-of-staters, for starters, even if they looked at Google Maps, even if they looked at the GIS data, they damn well knew now that there was a house and barn, at least up here on what they could see. They knew. Now, I understand that you're moving from the fucking goddamn city, and you think, oh, look at this beach, and it's perfect, and it's the country. No, you're taking my shit the fuck away from me, because that's too goddamn close. I don't want neighbors. The neighbors I have are already too goddamn close. Like, I fucking hate it there anyway. The point is, and they're not that close by most people's standards, I don't fucking like it. So, you may be coming from the fucking city and thinking, oh, this is country. No, it's not. You're fucking invading it. You're ruining my shit. That ain't country to me. That's you fucking invading. You're too goddamn close. Back the fuck up. Go find some other goddamn holler that has 40 acres and you're close the fuck off and not near me.
But then when Jackie Dobbs turns up, in his words, around 4 p.m. on the 14th of June, just a day before Summer disappeared, Jodie Sue and Andy confronted him. They called the cops, they drove him away, and then in Jodie Sue's words, they went looking for him.
Oh, and you won't believe this. While we're searching for Summer, we go down to the other property. Well, actually, not before, when the weirdo was on our property that bought that piece in the yard that's across the bank, and then was arguing against his own survey that he bought a crust of a bank and a vertical cliff, but nobody provided him with that survey. He was sitting on our property, he cut through our lines and stuff, whatever, and he parked himself right in the middle of the first 2 no trespassing signs, and had already been told, to move, whatever. Anyway, the cops removed him that night. So we were so worried about this guy and how he came off that we went looking that night all the way into Bayless and then every holler in Beach Creek, making sure he wasn't parked in there. And look, this guy hit me so weird. I was like,
Why would they need to go looking for him all around the hollers when he'd already gone? and he'd gone to a motel. But then the fateful day afterwards, June 15th, and Summer Wells is reported missing. In the words of Leslie Earhart, on the 16th of June.
She was last seen outside of her home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road, which is located in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County. A family member reported her missing to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office at approximately 6:30 Tuesday evening.
We hear from Geordie Sue on the 16th and 17th of June.
Summer's still not home. Y'all keep your eyes and ears open. Please keep going to the websites and sharing her picture and her information. Know that half of what you're hearing and seeing, especially these dumbass comments and conspiracies, because I looked for all of 3 seconds today online, and I mean that. It was like a quick bloop with the news conference they were doing. I was like, oh, hell no. News conference had more accurate info. That was all fun and dandy, but people in the comments section are just, it's already this person's shit and that person's shit, and well, so-and-so's sisters disappeared, and that, shit started last night with search parties here, and probably us privately all talk between each other, or one of the searchers who had heard us all talk, I don't know who the fuck heard that from where, honestly, but I was told that it got out last night at Mount Carmel. Either way, I'll tell you, the fucking two things ain't connected, and they're like 2.5 decades apart. The whole, everybody's trying to make it like it's a fucking, look, I ain't the police, not the feds, and there's more agencies here than you can imagine, but, I'll tell you just from my personal opinion, parents are not involved. If you were there, you'd understand. Either way, the comments in 3 seconds on that stream pissed me off so bad that I'm on fire. But I'm going to temper my tongue, and I'm not going to say much. It's pointless anyway. People are going to believe what they want to believe. Summer is loved, cared for. Neighborhood loves her, cares for her. Her parents and brothers love her. We all want her home. Feels a little empty without hearing her little giggles today. And, and her playing at the top of her hill from my hill. I hear her every day. And usually see her at least once. And, it's a little empty. And, I can't imagine what her mom and them are going through. I can see it written on her face and talk to her. This is hell for any parent, and I can't imagine. And this is a nightmare to us, and, so I can only imagine them, but, this isn't right, and for one of our own to be gone from the creek, and on that road especially, tells you something about what the hell's happening in there and what's changing. Definitely had some of the stuff that's not been going on there, been going on, like all the fucking properties for sale, and all the state shit, and all the fucking work crews in there from all over the goddamn country been in there. This would have never happened. Somebody took the opportunity with all the traffic coming in and out. That would be my guess now. I'm not saying that's fact. I'm just saying my guess would be that somebody has taken opportunity if that's what's happened. And that those things, had they not been happening, she might be where she's supposed to be right now. So, not real happy. This is what you get when you start opening these fucking areas up. And you have people running all across them. Any other day of the week, we could stand there and tell you exactly every detail about the entire day. Not in a million years would I have thought something like this would happen. In that road especially. And if you know Beach Creek and you know my road, you know why I'm saying that.
She implies that Summer wouldn't have gone missing had it not been for all of the disturbance out of towners coming in. And she's not talking about just Jackie, she's talking about the tree trimmers as well, that she had a problem with. But look, they're a necessary part of living on that mountain. The tree service have to come in and chop lines and lines of trees and foliage down to keep the power lines safe. You know, do you want to live there on that mountain with absolutely no power? Well, go ahead, Geordie Sue. But I'm sure everybody else wants power. So early doors, she's making assumptions, she's speculating, and yeah, perhaps everybody was doing it. But then everybody was coming online talking about it. You know, I had a comment only in the last few days saying, look, Geordie Sue's nothing but a nosy neighbour. She's not a suspect. She was always going to get embroiled in the YouTube drama because she's a neighbour. Nonsense. Nonsense. She came out from ground zero making daily videos about Summer's case. She made herself known. Yes, only to the few people who have been watching her Facebook, but she did become known because she was making so many videos. She voluntarily came on lots and lots of YouTube panels. She voluntarily created her own YouTube, which she now sits there for hours and hours and hours every day talking. Usually about YouTube drama, from what I can gather. No other neighbour have done that. You know, we've had Fred Hill spoken a couple of times to Ziggy. We've had Marlena, had a chat with somebody. Another neighbour from further down Ben Hill appeared on a WJHL segment recently. But nobody else has created drama. She's not just got embroiled in it because she's a neighbour. She's created it. I think once people were listening to her, maybe that went to her head a little bit. And she enjoys the attention and she just has to now keep it going. She has to put in those little snippets about Summer, you know, what she allegedly saw, to keep it going. But essentially, in my opinion, she's just become a drama channel. Talking about this creator or that creator or the other creator. I haven't watched her since the 9th of May. I used to watch her almost every day. I used to fast forward through the long pauses, fast forward through the irrelevant stuff about drama, this creator, that creator. I listened to her stuff on DV. I'd listen to, obviously, her stuff about Summer and fast forward through the rest. So I could get through like a 4-hour live in about half an hour maybe. Especially as we come forward chronologically, where she talked more and more about drama and less about Summer. If Geordie Sue is a suspect and actually we take it seriously that she could have had something to do with Summer's disappearance, what would be the motive if she is involved? I don't think single-handedly she would have done it. I think other members of her family would know about it. So we're kind of implicating them all if we implicate Geordie Sue. But one of her children's a minor, so I'm not going to mention her at all. But she does have an adult son. So the reason what turned me, you know, that took the rose-tinted spectacles off and made me completely reconsider my opinion of Geordie Sue as a suspect rather than a witness, was May the 9th. When it came out that Jodie Sue's son was chased off the property, chased off 110 Ben Hill Road, as he was skulking about in the woods there on 2 occasions in August. Her reaction to that coming out, talking about her son, but he's an adult. The drama that she drummed up because of it made me look at her in a whole new light. Why was Andy Jr., Damien, why was he skulking about in the woods? 6 witnesses saw him. Jodie Sue covered up for him, said he was checking the mail. We speculated, several others speculated, was he the creeper guy? If he was creeping around in August in the woods, was he creeping around on June 15th? Was he the Andy that H mentioned? Did Candice deny that to Chris McDonough because she knew who it was? And at the time she was talking to Chris McDonough, she was a friend of Geordie Sue. I don't know, things that make you go, But if Geordie Sue or members of the family are involved, like I said, you've got to consider this to be a group effort, whichever theory you go with. So, was Andy Jr. the peeping Tom? Did Andy Jr. do something to Summer? Fred Hill claims that he saw Andy Jr. in the pool on the Wells property with Summer a month or so before she disappeared. Did he do something to Summer? Did he take her somewhere, do something to her, unfortunately, panic, cause her demise? Or was she still alive? You know, Geordie Sue made that claim that Andy had said he'd seen Summer's dead body. She died on the Saturday. Most people assume that that would be Saturday before she disappeared. But what if it was Saturday the 19th? If this is true, and I'm not saying it is at all. But did Andy Jr. take her? Did he confide in his mother? I don't know. What SO confides in their mother? I find that difficult to believe, honestly. Or did Jodie Sue find out afterwards and choose to cover it up? But I don't know about that, because it would have to have been straight afterwards. She claims that she told Candice that she heard the scream between 4:30 and 4:42 that she said could be Summer. Maybe the scream was Andy Jr. doing whatever he was doing. Jodie Sue heard it and she covered up because he wasn't there. And she thought, oh, poop, I'll just say he was in the cabin with me, and actually he wasn't. But she only found out later what her son had done. I'm finding that a bit of a stretch, honestly. I think if Jodie Sue is involved, there's one of two motives. One is covering up a drug overdose, and the second is this was a sale. So if there's any truth whatsoever in Andy supplying Candice with drugs that sedated the girls so that they could be touched, was Summer given sedating drugs after she got home on June 15th? And they gave her a little bit too much, and then they found her deceased. And Candice panicked. The TBI knows that she left the hill twice. Jodie Sue brought an addition to her timeline quite recently and said, yes, Candice did leave the hill twice because she heard what she thought was the Suburban, this is another of the Wells vehicles, going up the driveway about 5:30. Fred Hill said he saw Candice in his driveway. Did he say 4:30? Something like that. But he also said he saw Andy on Ben Hill Road between 3 and 3:30. Now, I think if Andy had told the cops he was at work all day and then they found out he wasn't, he would be really high up on their suspect list. And none of the neighbours have taken polygraphs. It'd be interesting to give them all a polygraph. Jodie Sue, Andy Jr. Give all three a polygraph and see if all three pass, because all three of Summer's guardians passed. Now, we know polygraphs are not admissible in court. It's possible to fake, to fool a polygraph. Ted Bundy did. But then again, Ted Bundy was a very intelligent man. Are we really saying that Candice, Don, and Grandma Candy are all psychopaths who have the intelligence to be able to fool a polygraph? I don't know, you guys. But give Jodie Sue, Andy, and Andy Jr. polygraphs and let's see. Let's see. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that what Fred Hill said was correct. I'm not. Andy actually spoke out and said, look, I did see Fred, his cousin. I did see Fred, but it wasn't on June 15th. He said it's either in the days before or the days after. Now, it would be easy for Fred to get the days mixed up. But why did he see Candice in the driveway? Maybe again he's mistaken. Who knows? Anyway, the TBI know that Candice left the hill twice. What if Summer overdosed, Candice panicked, flew down the driveway to Geordie Sue, and they cooked up a plan together? Because Candice would be in trouble, Andy would be in trouble if they admitted that Summer had died because of a drug overdose. I don't think Candice, and we'll talk about this in a couple of days when I do Candice in this little series, I don't think Candice has the intelligence, the wherewithal to hide a body. I really don't. But I think Geordie Sue would have. And she could send out Andy Jr. or even Andy. Like I said, if Geordie Sue's involved, then I don't think it's on her own. I think there's others involved. Andy Jr. He hunts in those woods. He knows those woods. Andy grew up there. He knows those woods. Both of those guys are fit enough to take Summer deep in the woods, or drive her a few miles down the road and then dispose of her somewhere in the woods, out of the search area. Maybe Andy doesn't know anything about it. Maybe it was Jodie Sue supplying the drugs. We know she can get access to pills because she's got cancer. She's selling those pills, maybe. So it's Jodie Sue, not Andy. She's just projecting it all onto Andy because she's angry with him. She's angry with him because he had the audacity to start a YouTube channel and go on CSI's panel and do a panel of his own. She couldn't abide it. Just like she became so vindictive towards him when he left her.
Like I've told y'all long before, that earring was dropped on purpose. That's why they shut the floorboard and hit him in a meltdown. And I guarantee, honestly, when Summer disappeared, that's the reason he got so fucking crazy. And more things about the past few days. It's probably because when the Fed showed up, especially at work, he'd been lying to me because that day she disappeared, he was supposed to be running late, right? Working over. Guarantee he wasn't. So he knew tick, tick, tick. Time was coming. Cops knew he wasn't, whatever. And he was next door and truth coming. I mean, all kinds of things precipitated his shit, but I promise you for months. And what's weird is, like, he was abusing me that psychotically during the day, but then he was even acting weird for me. Like, at night, for those last few nights, it was, will you hold me? In a tone I'd never really heard before. I wanted me to hold him after fucking doing me that way every day. In a weird, like, baby tone. Like, man, this ain't done. If his fucking system thinks this is done, you let me know. I've been telling you. I've been fucking telling you.
Makes you think. It makes you think. The other option is that Jodie Sue is not only involved in kind of the local drug scene, she's also, you know, got connections, and they took the opportunity, her and whoever else is in this group, may or may not be Candice involved. I suspect if it's a group, Candice might be aware. I don't know, I'm on the fence. But they took the opportunity because of this perfect storm. You know, Jodie Sue knows a lot of RSOs. She knows Frank Light. She's defended Frank Light on videos. She knows other RSOs in the area. She's got very problematic friends. You know, she's definitely one that has wrong friends, as Don talked about. Is Don scared? Is Don aware of these people? It was a planned sale. Maybe she did come out straight away, insert herself into the case. Maybe that was the idea of talking on her Facebook at the time. But it was only when this became national and international news, and this case got way bigger than she ever imagined it would. You know, a little girl from a rural backwater goes missing. You know, she becomes part of a P ring. You know, she knows people into child P. Did Geordie Sue take the opportunity in this week of the perfect storm to take her and give her to one of the local SOs for their P-ring? I don't know, you guys. I don't know. It's possible. I think, honestly, that's more possible. Jodie Sue has the manipulative ability to insert herself brazenly in the case, but then have to go kind of, you know, bigger with it, make these 16 videos. Once Don started talking about the scream, kind of fits. I think that's more likely than Candice, even though Don says Candice has wrong friends. Well, maybe she does, but it's via Jodie Sue. I don't think Candice is clever enough to do this all on her own, if indeed Candice is involved, in whatever scenario. But Jodie Sue is. But, again, is that just because she is manipulative? Things that she said look mighty suspicious, look incriminating, but appearances aren't everything, and actually, she is just a vindictive neighbour who has nothing nice to say. So I'll let you decide. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tomorrow is Don Sherfy Jr. And I'll see you then. Goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. Nope, not interested. Bye, guys.